to include airtightness with insulation. So we do get asked this a lot. People want to put lots of natural insulation in the buildings, but they don't. The idea of then making it really, really airtight seems really alien. I try and go through it and explain why we need to make it airtight to retain that warm air inside the building. What is it you say to people?
Yeah, so first of all, I think it's really important to distinguish that when we talk about airtightness, we're talking about the fabric airtightness, the process of removing the uncontrollable infiltration of room side air into and between building components.
Gaps, in other words.
Yeah, exactly. We get gaps in the fabric, but totally separate from ventilation. So we could have a well-ventilated house that is also airtight. But airtightness has obviously got a number of important technical functions in terms of how a building performs.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can use as much insulation as you like, but if the air inside the building is leaking uncontrollably into the fabric, you're never going to retain the heat. So it doesn't, the insulation is completely ineffective. The other thing about having insulation, particularly internal insulation, of course, if you're leaking warm, moist air into the fabric, you are going to be dumping a whole load of moisture into your fabric, which presents its own problems as well. I guess airtightness is different between internal and external insulation, but it's still important.
Yeah, absolutely. So in my mind, it's really doing two fundamental things. You've got insulation reducing the conductive heat loss and airtightness reducing the convective movement of air. And if you just insulate but have no airtightness, then although your insulation is effective, there's potential for a massive amount of heat loss bypassing the insulation. And as you allude to, especially when you're internally insulating, you've got this cold component on the outside of the insulation. So airtightness is then extremely important at reducing the movement of warm internal humid air onto the cold side of that insulation.
Exactly, and that's exactly why we include the vapor control stroke airtightness layers in nature wall and all of our internal wall insulation specs, but generally all of our specs.
Yeah,
all of them are about trying to prevent uncontrolled air movement through the fabric.
And once you have good insulation and good airtightness, it then becomes much easier to maintain a high quality of indoor air quality.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah, excellent. Good.